Good morning. So we're going to continue. Last time we started explaining that the whole world was created for the Jewish people and for the Torah. And therefore, what happens is that the Torah itself and the whole world are there to give the power to the Jew to be able to accomplish his mission in the world and to help the Jew overcome the troubles of parnassah, the troubles of sustenance, and all these maim rabim, this multitude of waters which are consuming him and pushing him. אומנם נוסף על ביורתם הדבר, צריכים גם להביא זאת בפועל. וזהו כללות עניין עבודת בני ישראל על ידי תורה. How do you translate the fact that the challenges are actually there to elevate you and to have a greater love for Hashem? What gives you the power to do such a thing? We said, the multitude of waters is not able to extinguish the love. Okay? Not only that, it's going to ignite the love that you have for Hashem. Okay, but look, I live in this reality. And if I have to pay my bill, at that moment, I'm a little lost and confused. What is going to give me the power to be able to make it and to awaken that love? וזהו כלל עניין עבודת בני ישראל על ידי תורה, שגם עליה נאמר בראשית. This is the purpose of Torah, on which it says בראשית ברא אלוקים. The way God created the world is for bet reshit, for two of the first. The first is reshit tuato, his first harvest, which is the Jewish people, and reshit darko, the first path, which is the Torah. ובאופן ששניהם ישראל ותורה הם בטבע אחד. The Torah and the Jewish people are one. ומשניהם נעשים טבע אחד בראשית עד שישראל ועל ידי אורייתא נעשים אחד עם קודשא בריך הוא. And through that we're one with Hashem. בכללות העניין בזה שכאשר שולחים את הנשמה למטה, when the soul gets brought down in this world, נותנים לה מלכתחילה את כל הכוחות. It's given all the power that it needs to be able to do this. ובעיקר עניין התורה, and especially the power of Torah. בדוגמת המבואה בסוגיה דמתן תורה, שכיוון שלמצרים ירדתם ישראל יש ביניכם וכו'. לכן נותנים לבני ישראל את התורה, חמדה גנוזה ואדרבה, עיקר התורה היא למטה דווקא ולא בשמיים היא. So we explained last time, I think we explained this last time, that since the Torah is not in the heavens, it's given to us, davka. Therefore, the Torah gives us the power to overcome the world. Because when Moshe Rabbeinu went up to get the Torah, at that moment the angels started asking, what is a man of flesh and blood doing here? And the answer was, says Moshe Rabbeinu, answer them. The angels wanted to keep the Torah for them. And Moshe Rabbeinu says, 1 second.
Cannot keep it.
How could you keep the Torah? Do you have a father and mother to respect? Did you go down to Egypt that it says, Ani Hashem Elokechem, Anochi Hashem Elokecha asher hotzeticha me'eretz Mitzrayim, that I took you out of Egypt? Do you have a Yetzer Hara? You have an evil inclination that the Torah should tell you, do this or don't do that? In a ma'amar of the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, in Parashat Noach, Tafresh Tzadik Tet, over there, Friedrich Rebbe explains the advantage of the neshama over the angels. The angels, the neshama, even when it's in the physical body, is able to transform the physicality. But the angels, as great as they are, they're not able to transform physicality. And the proof is in Parashat Bereshit. In Parashat Bereshit it says that the angels came down to the world. Vayiru et bnot haaretz. They saw the women, they got seduced, And they not only did they not transform the world, they got sunk into the Yetzer Hara of the world. We have Torah, and therefore we have that power. I want to tell you something that's very interesting. It says, the Alter Rebbe says in Igad HaKodesh, I think it's 25. But before I say what he says over there, it says, Yiga be'arim ve'yeshanu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu touches the mountains and he transforms them into smoke. He transforms the mountains into smoke. So it says in the Midrash, one of the commentaries, that if HaKadosh Baruch Hu motzi etzba'o aktana, moshit etzba'o aktana, if God is going to extend his little pinky, he will destroy everything with his little pinky. So we asked the question, what is the little pinky of Hashem? Hashem, we're talking about figuratively. So the pinky of Hashem is one angel. If one angel reveals itself to the world, he destroys a third of the world. Okay? You got the power of what one angel is, right? Think about nuclear power and the effects, right, of nuclear power. Imagine the power of an angel. In Igad HaKodesh, the Alter Rebbe says that if 10 Jews are studying Torah together, an angel is not able to stand because of the great light that emanates from them. So, look at the comparative point.
Contradiction.
Huh?
Contradiction, not comparison.
No, which means, no, it's not a contradiction. It shows the Elyonut, the advantage we have over the angel, which is so much more powerful. An angel, even with its great power of destruction, cannot stand in a place of Jews. Because here we're not talking about, the Gemara in Masechet Chagiga says, man is the Bria Tichonit. Man is the central being. Shisha dvarim ne'emu b'vnei Adam. 6 things are said about man. Shlosha kemalachei hasharet. In 3 things we resemble the angels, right? We are able to stand upright, we're able to speak Hebrew, and we're able to have da'at, to have knowledge. And in 3 things we resemble the animals. We reproduce, we eat, and we relieve ourselves. In that sense, we contain both elements together. And we are the Bria Tichonit. We are the central creation in which everything, the whole creation, Elyonim Betachtonim, the supernal world, and the lower world, and everything that's in it is in one creation. The angel only has the higher level. And therefore, when it comes down to this world, it can't. The Alter Rebbe gives an example. And based on this, I came up one day with a mashal. Imagine somebody is in a quicksand, right? You have an object going into a quicksand. It's falling slowly but surely. So you bring a crane. You bring a crane to bring it. But the crane you brought is too small. What happens? The crane itself is going to sink in. That's the angels. Then you have the crane that they use to build the Burj Khalifa. Right? So I can't even imagine what that crane looked like. But that is Neshamot Yisrael. That's the souls of the Jewish people. So here we're saying that we are filled with the light of Torah and that power of Torah to be able to transform the world. And not only that, when we study Torah, because you have to be, in order to be able to do this, you have to study Torah. So you can make the difference between what's material, what's physical, what could be elevated, what can't be elevated, and you can shine within it. Right? It says, Kiner mitzvah v'tora'o. Right? Ner mitzvah v'torah or. The mitzvah is like a candle, but the Torah is like daylight. When you have daylight, at that moment, nothing can hide. There's no, the light is so powerful. And therefore, we're able to transform the Yetzer Hara and make it into something that's going to be a powerhouse. והנה בתורת גופה, גם השקלה ותריה שבתורה הוא עניין של תורה אור. In the Torah itself, even the disputes in the Gemara, sometimes you'll have a machloket, a discussion, a dispute between Rav Papa and Resh Lakish. Rav Papa says one thing, he learns from a few verses one way, and Resh Lakish learns another way, and you think they're machloket. You have to know that even when there's a dispute in Torah, that too is Torah or. That too is light. How much more so, the more you learn Torah, the more light you bring around you. אבל אף על פי כן, כדי שהאדם יוכל למלות שליחותו בעולם, לתקן גופו ונפשו הבעמית וחלקו בעולם, שעניין זה נפעל על ידי המעשה שהוא העיקר, וגם על ידי דיבור ומחשבה בעיקר, כפי שקשורים עם עניין המעשה, לא מספיק עניין השקה ותריה שבתורה, אלא צריך להיות גם המסקנה להלכה. Now, when man is dealing in this world, it's not enough to just know the different opinions of this one says this and this one says that and they're arguing. You need to have a very clear guide of what's called halakha, Jewish law. Once you know what halakha is, what is the conclusion, then you can apply it in action. And since this world is a world of action, we deal with this world, we need halakha in order to be able to transform this world, right? שעל זה אמרו גדול לימוד שמביא לידי מעשה. שזהו עניין דבר הלכה דווקא. And that's what it says. Great is the study. There's a machloket, there's a discussion concerning what is greater. Right? Is it מעשה גדול or Talmud גדול? Is the study of Torah greater or is it the mitzvot which are greater? So the conclusion is that the Talmud is greater שמביא לידי מעשה. When is the Talmud greater? When it brings down to action. Because action without studying, you don't know what to do. Studying without action, it's not complete. The studying for the purpose of action is what halakha is. לימוד התורה מביא לידי מעשה דמילוי השליחות בעולם. Because now, when I know halakha, then I know how to fulfill my shlichut. I know how to fulfill my mission in the world. If I don't know halakha, which means I don't know exactly, okay, is this kosher, is not kosher? Am I supposed to do this? Am I not supposed to do this? Then I'm lost. It's like you would never imagine somebody doing big contracts, big deals, right? Or even small deals, and he doesn't even know, some tax law or some basic stuff of what he can and cannot do. Because if he doesn't, then he's not going to be able to function, he's not going to be able to be successful. לימוד התורה מביא לידי מעשה דמילוי השליחות בעולם. נעשה העניין להיפטר אדם מחברו, ירידת הנשמה למטה באופן של זה באים לתכלית העלייה. Where did we start? We started the מאמר with the teachings that אל ייפטר אדם מחברו, אלא מתוך דבר הלכה, שבכך זוכהו. A person should not leave his friend only through a word of Torah. But it didn't say any word of Torah. It says specifically a word of halakha. Shebekar zocheu. So we said, okay, let's apply this to our friend, so to say Hashem. When the soul descends and leaves Hashem, what does he leave Hashem with? What does a soul leave? With Dvar halakha. Because the whole purpose why you sent me in the beginning, the whole purpose of our connection together is that I should do your will. So once I have halakha, I am fulfilling the purpose for which I left Hashem. in order to bring me to a level of aliyah, of connection to God, which is much greater. Because over there, when I'm close to Hashem, when the soul is close to Hashem, I'm not fulfilling my mission. When am I fulfilling my mission? Once I'm down here in the physical world and I don't eat milk and meat and I give ma'aser and I pray at the right time and I know how to put on my tefillin and so on and so forth. At that moment, I'm accomplishing what Hashem gave me. So now I'm doing His will. The connection is a much greater connection than otherwise. ועל פי זה יש לבאר גם פשטות העניין דה להיפטר אדם מחברו וכו'. והעניין בזה, דהנה ידוע מובן שאינו דומה יחיד העושה לרבים העושים. וכמבואר בארוחה וכונחה שכל, צו התועלת של החלטה ברבים בנוגע ללימוד ברבים ובפעולה ברבים. ומצד זה היו כל ישראל צריכים להיות במעמד ומצב של אחדות, כולכם לאחדים כאחד מראשיכם עד שואב ממך. גם בגשמיות כפשוטו. So he says, now we're going to reapply this to our friends. When you're with people. When we're your people, when you're with Jews, as we said before, the study of 10 Jews together, right, is tremendous, very powerful. And besides that, the ahdut there is, the unity there is between Jews at that moment, right, strengthens whatever you're learning, it strengthens it. So really, we should always be together. We should always be in a situation of such unity that it's impossible to separate ourselves from Torah and from that unity. So he says like this. He says like this. וזהו גם משמעות התחלת המאמר, אל ייפטר אדם מחברו, שלא צריך להיות עניין של פירוד בין איש ישראל לחברו, אפילו לא במקום גשמי. כשם שכללות ישראל עם הקדוש ברוך הוא הם באופן שישראל לא ראתה קודשו ברוך הוא כולה חד. אך על זה אמור הז"ל, צדקה עשה, so he says, אל ייפטר. אל ייפטר, שלא יהיה פירוד. Really, there needs to be there cannot be a separation. Now the separation here is not only physical. It's not that there shouldn't be only a physical separation. There shouldn't be a spiritual separation. Really, there's no separation. It says in the Gemara in Psachim, אמור הז"ל, צדקה עשה הקדוש ברוך הוא בישראל שפיזרן לבין האומות. הקדוש ברוך הוא made it tzedakah. It was his justice. And a good thing that he did, that he spread us amongst the nations of the world. Vainu. Why? כיוון שצריך לברר כל ניצוצות הקדושה, והרי ניצוץ הקדושה שלו נמצא במקום אחד, והניצוץ הקדושה של חברו נמצא במקום אחר, לכן צדקה עשה הקדוש ברוך הוא בישראל, שבזמן לבין האומות, שאחד מכם גולה לברבריה, ואחד מכם דונה לסמטריה, הוא מברר את כל המדינה כולה, על ידי זה מי שממלא שם שליחותו של הקדוש ברוך הוא לימוד התורה וקיום המצוות. בגלל זה צריך להיות בעניין להיפתח אדם מחברו כפשוטו בין איש ישראל לחברו. So he says the reason why Hashem spread us around the world is in order that you should be able to elevate the sparks of godliness which are in your place, in your city, in your area, and I should be able to be at the other side of the world doing the same thing. And like this, together we elevate the world. So, in order to do that, we need to separate ourselves. But how do we separate ourselves? We separate ourselves with the same mission. Once we separate ourselves with the same mission, then at that moment we're all united. Because we're going to all the same purpose. And that's what I said on Shabbat concerning the Tower of Babel. Tower of Babel, they were all united against God. What did Hashem do? He spread him. He spread him around the world, and he changed their language into 70 languages. There is one event once a year that I remind myself of each time I read about the Tower of Babel. That's the Kinus HaShluchim. The Kinus HaShluchim is Shluchim which speak 70 languages, which have been spread to the whole world, which come together in order to unite for Hashem. Not to rebel against Hashem, but to unite for Hashem. But that, in a sense, when we all have the same mission to elevate the world, we're one. Physically it's possible, you're there and we're here. But really, we're all one.